Even when you think that MAGA has surely hit rock bottom, no, they'll find new depths to plumb. Following the death of the Pope Francis, earlier this week, a number of Republicans are rejoicing, apparently, taking a victory lap over the fact that this much respected and in some ways sort of revolutionary Pope has tragically passed. They believe, of course, every one of them, that they know more about God, about Christianity, about Catholicism than the Pope ever could, because he's one of the woke ones, I guess. This is what Marjorie Greene, she sort of started this trend of dunking on the now deceased Pope. She posted this yesterday saying, "Today there were major shifts in global leaderships. Evil is being defeated by the hand of God." Yeah, that seems like God. Yeah, he hated the Pope. God definitely hated the Pope, and that's why he killed him. Because God don't mess around. He's not gonna let a wokester stay in charge for years and years and years. Why did he let him be Pope in the first place, you moron, you dullard? Couldn't he have slapped him down way before when he was like a cardinal or something?
He was taking his time.
He was taking his time. He likes to slow roll at the Pope. Man, Marjorie Greene thinks that God is weak and slow and stupid, and that is not what God is like. That's what you are like, Marjorie Greene. But anyway, also, by the way, she's dunking on the dead Pope. She doesn't even have the cojones to say specifically what she's doing, but that's obviously what she's doing. But it's not just her. That started the flood, the tsunami followed. Take a look.
Seriously, do we want to continue in a basically, sad to say, woke direction in the Catholic Church, or do we want to return to an affirmation of the faith based on what the apostles handed down?
Pope Francis, whose passage obviously is a sad event for the Catholic Church, and no doubt he reposes in the arms of the Lord.
I don't know that I am so sure about where the Pope is today. I don't know that holding a title necessarily ushers you into the arms of Jesus. I think that babies died. Christians were slaughtered across the world.
Yeah, and whoever the hell that is right. Babies died, and the Pope is, of course, responsible for every baby that dies. And that random person, whoever it is, I don't care, and I'm not gonna learn it. If I did, I'd forget it instantly, and I advise you do the same. She spoke out there, and also, my God, she just wouldn't stop talking about the dead kids in Gaza. Just rant after rant, monologue about how it's unacceptable that you'd be killing these Palestinian kids and babies. No, she didn't do that at all. I love that they're so angry that he would challenge them to actually live the values that like Jesus described. Not even in every way, but just in some ways, like. And she's like, no, religion is just supposed to tell me that I'm the best. I was born the best. Everyone who wasn't born like me is terrible and everything's great for me. That's what religion's supposed to be. These people are such whiny babies, Jackson. What do you think?
Yeah, man, F the Pope, you know what I'm saying? That's how we starting off this show, which is, yeah, I mean, it's just, obviously it's an endless clown show, but it's just, yeah, God doesn't like the Pope. The ultimate figure of the Christian religion, or God doesn't like that. God likes guns, God likes bombs, God likes America, you know what I'm saying? Woo! That's what God's all about. That's what God is all about, baby. Guns, beer, sex, drugs, and I mean, that's really as deep as this goes. Yesterday I was on with Dr. Richie and I was talking about how religion, obviously there's spirituality and a lot of very strong, powerful lessons about walking through life that you can learn from any religious text, as well as all types of sources. But religion itself has often been associated with the state. What's good for the state is good for your God or good for your gods. And it's no different here in terms of the evangelism and the far right in this country. God is just a moniker of power, and he is an excuse for you to do what you'd like to do to others. That's it.
Yeah, the people who are like, hey, isn't it great that I was born in a place where I was naturally inducted into the true religion? I always love that. But then the people who go a step further and they're like, whatever like small, tiny, jealous, needy, entitled feelings I have, I could probably find something in the Bible that says that that's right. Or if you're JD Vance, maybe not even the Bible, maybe just like some esoteric Catholic doctrine from the Middle Ages where like some priest was like Ordo Amoris, and it's like, oh good, screw Jesus, Ordo Amoris, that's how we do it or whatever. No, but like if you are in a part of a religion or whatever, which is fine, lots of good people are in religions, and you actually take it as a challenge to do better, to try harder, that's amazing, that's admirable. These people, this is the most pathetic and just disgusting stuff I think I've ever seen. There's other disgusting stuff too.
So God doesn't like it.
Yeah, and I love your description of what God is into. That like he's turn the cheek. No, he's all rock, flag, and eagle. That's
Guns
what
and butter, baby.
God is like.
This is what God's all about right here.
Exactly,
You know
skulls and roses.
That's exactly what God is all about.
Yeah. Now Trump is not dunking on him, which he could have. He does that sometimes when people die. Instead, he Truth Social this: Melania and I will be going to the funeral of Pope Francis in Rome. We look forward to being there. Dude, like, tone it down with the excitement. Like, you don't have to be that excited. It's not WrestleMania or whatever. Like, it's still a funeral. You can be excited that you're involved because, if I was the Pope, I wouldn't let you come to my funeral. So I guess you're surprised. We all are, but like, you don't have to be that excited about it. It's still a solemn event. But that said, I just want to get one more angle on this. This is former GOP Representative Alan West, what he had to say about the Pope and him tying it to a prominent political topic.
If you know your Bible, even God understood, borders and boundaries. And so when he expelled Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden, he set forth an angel with a sword of fire to prevent them from coming back in. So I think it's important that we understand and we respect the rule of law. And as Christ said, render unto Caesar what is Caesar, and render unto God what is God. And also in 2 Timothy chapter 4, verses, I believe about 8 to 13, Paul talks about how these members and leaders in the church need to preach the word in season and out. So I think it's really important that you not get caught up in the social, climate.
Yeah. Forget all that Sermon on the Mount stuff. Well, like one of the few times that Jesus actually spoke specifically, and we can quote, he said, "That's stupid. I don't like that." I've got Timothy 42:1 or whatever. And then there's one other thing that I have found and memorized that mean I don't have to give a damn about anybody. The least of us, I don't know. I found a quote. I have a quote. Screw Jesus. I found a quote. Screw you. You don't look like me. I don't have to care about you. I mean, never mind the fact that the vast majority of these prominent conservative white Christians would feel the exact same thing about Alan West, but whatever, he's trying to be part of the in crowd or whatever, and he's got a quote, so everybody get off his back. Well, you know what? The thing is, the Bible's got more than one quote. We've got a quote, I got a quote, and I'm gonna read it as an atheist just to bother Alan West even more. He said this. This is Matthew 25:37-40. Then the righteous will ask, Lord, when was it we saw you a stranger and welcomed you? And when was it that we saw you sick or in prison and visited you? And the king will answer them, truly I tell you, just as you did it to one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did it to me. Well, Alan West wants to did it to the least of the brothers and sisters quite a bit. And I guess that's what he'd do to Jesus and to God. You take these people, you take Jesus and you lock him up in Louisiana with no due process, and then you ship him to CCOT in El Salvador, and then you make fun of him online. That's what you do to the least of us, the brothers and sisters and Jesus himself. God, look, I would say they shouldn't need an atheist to remind them of what their religion expects of them, but they don't need an atheist. They had Pope Francis and they ignored that too, Jackson. Any final thought?
Yeah, well, of course, there's a difference between Jesus and woke Jesus. And, we've crossed the barriers of what Jesus is all about. Woke Jesus is about empathy and compassion and love and kindness and patience and all that other gay stuff. And God don't like gay. So, we can't be having that. You know what I'm saying? And the other thing, too, that you got to remember is Well, you said that this is not a WWE match, but in fact, that's exactly what this is. That's what politics is in the United States of America. And unfortunately, for not just American citizens, but the rest of the world, we're going to have to make a really massive mess of things before people collectively realize that politics, in fact, is not a WWE match, and that the life is real and that things matter. So that's the state that we're in right now.
I love that, like, I know the Bible's got a lot of words, and some of these people are not big readers or whatever, but like the 10 Commandments is so brief and so specific, and you would think it's hard to weasel out of thou shalt not kill in particular, but it turns out it's actually super easy, barely an inconvenience. You just agree as a faction of Christians to screw that. It probably means something else. I actually like killing. I think there's a lot of people that need to be killed. So screw the commandments, screw what Jesus said. Again, it's not my book. I don't think it was written by God, but you guys say that it was. Maybe you should read it, pay attention to it, learn a lesson or something.